Well, all right. First and foremost, I do apologize as the live stream is damn near an hour beyond the time it was already pushed back and rescheduled for. As I've told you all, I don't always have control over what, where, and when I can be or what I am physically able to do at times. And even at this moment, I will be short viewed and then back into treatment. All right. So big shout out to everybody. Darth, Incredible Facts. Mary Beanie, big shout out to you. I appreciate you trying to keep the Discord family abreast of the situation and the time. Big shout out to Dewey and everybody else. So day 3 happened. Let's just go ahead and talk about this. Let's just get to something a little bit more positive, right? Day 3 happens, PM session. There were a few things happening. Max Verstappen spun out. We saw drivers pushing it. I think Charles Leclerc got a little bit squirrely, but most important thing that I do want to talk about are, one, we'll get into Aston Martin, but two, let's just go down a list of the classifications and talk about these teams. How you doing, Witherspoon? White Iverson. And let's just kind of go down and see what we're really thinking about as we've closed out day 3 of testing. It's officially in the books, and we will be looking for the round 1 Grand Prix as well as Drive to Survive that will be coming out soon. So we come over here to the chart. For a moment, Max Verstappen was at the top, but surprisingly, Mercedes puts in a pretty nice lap. Now, Ruth and Bernie, I believe is what her name was, or Burley. I got to get it right. She's new to me right now in the commentating booth. They were talking about some of the time differences with McLaren and Mercedes, and it seems like Mercedes is still behind by 4/10, maybe 6/10, which is kind of crazy. And if that is the case, then we know that Mercedes will not be at the top of this situation. But we will say this: Mercedes might still have an existing problem that is going to keep them behind the front 3. And I think the front 3 at this point in time will be Red Bull, or I think it'll be McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull. Mr. Banks in the house. Big shout out to Mr. Banks. Welcome to the Wolfpack family. I see you got a blue badge. You've been here for a minute. Big shout out to you. And we will have our Discord meet this weekend. I will be posting that time. It will be Sunday. So all family members, everybody that has a badge, you will have access to that Discord meeting. So make sure you're there so we can have a good time. And I want to hear your thoughts, hear your perspectives on how you felt about testing and how you're feeling about the team that you're likely going to support this season. So with that being the case, it seems as if Mercedes might still have some problems or some challenges, some problems, because problems are done and can be solved. What do they call? It's like problems can be solved. Situations are a little bit different. So if you got a problem, it can be solved. And they do have a problem. And the problem is that their car tends to perform better in cooler climates. And that's not necessarily what it's going to be as we're getting ready to be in spring. It's about to be summer. Weather's going to be warm. Tracks are going to be hot. Cars are going to be hot. Cooling louver packages are going to need to be installed. And Mercedes does not perform well in hotter climates as they do in cooler climates. We saw that last season, and it seems like with the anomaly of climate situation in Bahrain, we saw it then. So where Mercedes truly is among that top 5 group, we'll see soon enough. But that closing out, I'm pretty sure closing out day 3 of testing at the top of the charts is a nice morale booster for them. Max Verstappen being there for some time. I always said it last season, and I'll even still say it this season. You can never count Max Verstappen out on a hot lap. That's just a fact. Max is probably just as good at qualifying on a 1-lap pace as Charles Leclerc is. And with the most dominant car in his hands, more often than not, he can get pole position. I'm not confident in saying that he will have the most dominant car or a car that will not be rivaled by other teams this season. I think that right out of the gate is not going to be the same as last season out of the gate for Red Bull. think it's going to be a bit more challenging for a lot length of the season than it was last season. He was very fortunate last season to have a front load of top finishing and win positions. Then I do estimate will happen this season. It could still happen, but it doesn't look likely to me. I don't think it's going to happen. So if it does happen, hey, kudos, and that's awesome. But I don't think it's going to happen. So we'll see how that actually goes. As we go down to Williams, very, very interesting, and I do mean very interesting testing for Williams. Williams is looking like they may have made another step forward. I don't want to be too exaggerated about it. I don't want to embellish it too much. I want to keep some realism to it, but I do think that they have made another step forward. All through 3 days of testing, especially with the supposed troll of Carlos being at the top of the charts over Ferrari, and Alex Albon finishing third in best time of day 3, I think Williams might actually do better this season. I don't know where it is they may go, where it is they might finish at the end of the season, how many races they finish in the top 10, because I think that's realistic. I can't say top 5 right now. But if we did see Williams finishing top 5, that is an unbelievable amount of progress for that team. It just is. All right. It just is. McLaren with Oscar Piastri, them talking about some things. I know as far as us seeing them messing around with the flow viz and the body work and trying to see about the control, and Lando was doing some constant runs and they were doing some data collecting. I refuse to think that if Red Bull saw not the urgency to make modifications to the point where their car looks extremely different, because it doesn't. I refuse to think that McLaren, although they made some mistakes last season, have not also made some changes as well that will keep them battling Red Bull right out of the gate. So that is something. Alpine still going to be Mercedes. They're vacating their works team badge. They're going to be a customer team to Mercedes. I think that's going to happen next season officially. They'll have a Mercedes power unit. But even Alpine showing some type of productive progress in my eyes. I don't think they'll be battling at the top of even the midfield. I think they're going to be battling for 8, 10, sometime 12th position. I don't expect to see Alpine consistently at the back. I don't expect to see Alpine 19th and 20th and 18th. I expect to see them somewhere between 15 and 10 every now and then. And maybe depending on situations, because situations happen. You have to understand, in racing, situational events are going to happen, weather, rain, some teams caught out, a failure, a DNF. Maybe every now and then they finish between 7 and 9, which is good for them. All right. Then we come down here to the Racing Bulls, Yuki. I'm kind of confident in saying that until the first race, maybe I shouldn't say much till the first race, but I am, because this is just a guesstimation. This is just kind of a forecasting. Yuki and Hadjar might be saying, hello, midfield. We're here to try to put our name in the hat. Honestly, I mean, they pretty much got a baby Red Bull, a baby RB20. There are some minor differences here and there to just say it's not a true copy, but it's pretty much an RB20. And of course, it doesn't matter. If you change the surface of any one of these cars even slightly, yeah, you got your own set of problems to work out to fine tune it. That's not saying much. That's just the nature of the game. It's the nature of aerodynamics. You change up something subtly on the air surface or the surface of a plane or a car, you're going to get a different result. And with that different result is a different set of problems, and a different set of problems that you would need to solve. But inevitably, just in similarities, it's pretty much an RB20. It looks very similar. It is very similar. Some of the edges are a little bit sharper here, some things tapered there, but I do like the point that Yuki being in that car. I want to see what Yuki can do this season in that car. It should be an improved car. And I want to see what he's going to be able to do. And if Yuki outperforms Hajar, it is going to be outright ridiculous, as it already is ridiculous, for him to have not gotten his opportunity to drive an RB. It is. If this is another teammate that Yuki outperforms and then Yuki provides more points to the team than his teammate, it's just getting ridiculous for him not to have an opportunity in a better performing car. So given the way the car looks and where testing went, I think that they definitely got the best livery right now. I think that we should see that. So then we're going to come right on down to Haas, and Esteban and Behrman will be there, 2 drivers with Haas doing their things. And Haas, I typically have a tendency to spell Haas with 2 S's instead of 2 A's for a reason, because I always say Haas is Haas. And what do you know? Haas, pretty much the car's falling apart on the track. Okay. Things do happen like this, but Haas had a tendency for it to happen a bit more. And Alpine did, I think that was 2 seasons ago, Alpine during testing came down the straight and their side pods were just blowing off like they were held on with Elmer's regular glue. But Haas having a situation with Ollie Berman's car, side pod or bodywork coming off, and they had to get that together and work that out. So I don't expect to see Haas in the midfield. It was a very impressive showing last season with Nico specifically, more so than K-Mag. And I don't necessarily think they've taken a back step, although it's possible, but I don't think they've taken a big enough step forward to where they're going to surprise us and they're going to be finishing in the top 10 more often than not. But you never know. Team principal, solid. 2 new drivers, solid. And maybe Gene Haas understands now that your pocketbook needs to be a bit more open to the benefits of Formula One. So we'll see what happens. Then we come on down, Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc. I think that I think I don't understand. Palmer, people always try to say, these guys are race car drivers. Palmer's been a driver. 083, what's up, Wolfpack family? What's up, brother? They always, talk about Palmer was an ass driver. He was not good in Formula One. He was not good. And then today just kind of cemented even more so that you weren't good and you weren't even that damn involved. He was asking questions of Roof that he clearly should have understood about teams and are not sandbagging or hiding or not disclosing certain performance aspects. And these are things that you should have known if you were a top performing driver and you were really involved as much as you should have been. But this just goes to show you are where you are because you weren't a good driver in Formula One. And that's just plain it. And yeah, I think it's possible that Ferrari are understanding that they might have something. And you know what? We're going to let y'all see it first day of Australia. It is also possible that, 90% of this car changed and there's some things we don't quite have a grasp on yet. We're going to need to work on that. But Lewis doesn't seem unhappy about the car. And I don't think after 3 years of Mercedes bullshit, I'm just going to say it like it is, if he got to Ferrari and this SF25 was ass, I don't think he's smiling about that just to be smiling about that in that situation. I think at this point in time in Lewis Hamilton's career and what he's been through the past 3 seasons, if he got into a Ferrari and it was we're going to see it. We're going to see it a lot sooner than we saw with the W13, 14 till it got to the 15 and things start falling apart. Okay. I think that Ferrari definitely have some good things going on. I do, and I have also told you all, I think that there are some concerns that I think Ferrari are aware of with the car changing 90%, but I do like the point that Fred Vasseur made is that we reached our capabilities with that evolution of car. Going to this new rod system is going to allow us to raise our ceiling and our ability to make a better car and have a better season. And I said to many of you about that with Red Bull, that they were going to run into a situation where they were going to pretty much max out their ability in this platform, and that they would need to change, have a game changer at some point in time to continue to be where they would like to be as far as Max being a front runner. Ferrari have already realized this with their situation. Now we just need to see, is your new potential room to grow going to allow you to get championships, as it was said? Constructor championships, driver championships, we will see. Antonelli with Mercedes pushing hard. I think he's just trying to find his limits. I think he's a different type of young driver. He's going to push hard and he's going to back off from there to find his limits, which can be a little bit nerve-wracking for a team principal, can be a little bit nerve-wracking for mechanics. It can be a very volatile situation, but it can be a situation that pays reward over risk. And then sometimes it can be the risk is not worth the reward because the risk have now landed us in a car that is wrecked and driving up the cost cap and wasting time on track and not having the ability to qualify because you're already out in Q1 or Q2, not because you didn't make the time, but because you went off track and you wrecked the car, or you exceeded track limits multiple times. So we'll see what Antonelli's going to be. We already know he pushed hard before, spun out, did his thing. This is kind of his driving style, or this is one of the elements that exist in his driving style. So we'll see how that pans out. And kicks, Sauber, Stake, I mean, I'm not concerned about them. It's not even a point to talk about it. The biggest point I want to make right here is Alonso in 18th. And let's just talk about the elephant in the room, because it needs to be talked about until something happens about it or they just don't exist in Formula One. And that is Lance Stroll unable to finish out testing. You know, there's a thing that we say in the sport of football, American football, and that is your best ability is availability. The best ability you have is to be available as much as possible, available every game, so that you can contribute to your team. We've seen Lance Stroll call out sick more than he probably should be calling out sick. Granted, the bike accident happened, fully understand. But what I don't like is, you knew this last night. You knew last night that Lance Stroll was feeling ill. Hope he feels better. And knowing Lance Stroll's personality and his nepotism and his entitlement, he was going to call out sick. And he called out sick. Why in the hell did you not have Felipe ready to go? Why was this not an opportunity to say, you know what, Lance, you don't feel well. It's testing. It's day 3. You know, let's go ahead and get Felipe ready. Let's go ahead, Lance, chill. It's the day before. Let's go ahead and start making plans to get a seat, get Felipe a seat in, get these pedals adjusted, get the cockpit ready for Felipe to at least have some testing so we can see what he can do. Why didn't they do this? Why are they not taking this opportunity, having such a driver in Felipe Drugovich in the garage? This is totally irresponsible on behalf of Aston Martin. And I don't care about protecting Lance Stroll's psyche. I don't care about protecting his self-esteem at this point in time. He's not that good of a driver. He's not. Felipe is a better driver in my imagination right now than Lance Stroll could ever be. And until you put Felipe on track and you prove me different, I'm going to keep saying it. Because that's the only way you can prove me wrong. This is getting outright crazy. It's horrible. It is ultimately horrible. We are not getting to see a champion level talent out of F2 in Formula One because somebody's daddy owns the team. I mean, and when you have the opportunities, you still don't take the opportunity. So it's either you know something about Felipe Drugovich that we don't, or it is what we saying it is. Nepotism to the fullest. I am completely sick and tired of this. Felipe needs to be seen in Formula One. I mean, think about this. We got a plethora of drivers. Only Bortoleto, the champion. We have a plethora of drivers who I don't even think finished in the top 5, besides for Hajar. Matter of fact, let's not even guess about it. Let's just go over it. Let's just talk about factual things right now. I'm going to bring this up because I want to be clear when I say this. Okay, we know Bortoleto, champion, F2 last season. He's in. Okay, he should be in, just like Drugovich should be in. Am I wrong about this or something? I'm trying to figure out if I'm wrong about this. Just like Bortoleto, just like he should be in. Matter of fact, let me look at this. Yeah, here it is right here. I'm going to bring it up so we can all take a look at it. I'll bring this up so we can all see it. Okay, Bortoleto right here. Hajar came in second. He's in Formula One. He's got an active seat with the Racing Bulls. Bortoleto, although we don't think much about Kick Sauber, he's there with Kick Stake. He's there with the team that's going to be Audi next season, I believe. Next season, Audi's coming in. He's going to be there. So then we got a slew of drivers that aren't in the top 5 that also have seats in Formula One right now. Antonelli was 6th in the Drivers' Championship out of the top 5, and he's with Mercedes. He's actually with Mercedes. Colapinto probably has more F1 seat time than I've seen Drugovich get intermittently last season. Ollie Berman is 12th in the driver standings in F2 last season, and he's got a seat with Haas. What in the hell are we talking about? What are we doing? No way, no how should Felipe Drugovich not be in a seat in Formula One. We got drivers that were 12th in the standings, not champions, in Formula One right now. This is crazy. It's crazy. It's disrespectful. The brother is sitting there watching drivers who didn't win a championship in F2 actually getting a seat. And I know usually it's about sponsorship dollars, right? It's about sponsor. Well, I can't even say that he couldn't have had the money because Lawrence Stroll signed him right up. I mean, you mean to tell me that Ollie Berman, who finished 12th in F2, for some reason got more sponsorship dollars than Felipe Drugovich, who was a champion in F2? If that's the case, the money game is completely skewed and biased. Well, which we know, because if that was the case, then Jamie Chadwick should have had a bigger opportunity than damn Logan Sargent. Logan, not Sargent. But something needs to change about this, because this format is whacked out. As Kendrick Lamar would say, they whacked out my murals. That type of energy will make y'all move to Europe. I guess so. So, there it is. That's what's going on. That is my strong point for today. Once again, I apologize for not making it here in the time I planned to. Situations happen. I cannot control it all the time, and I do my best to try to find a way to control it, because trust me, some of these days are more positive to be in here than not. So other than that, testing is over. It is time for us to get to round 1 of the actual season in Australia, home race for Oscar Piastri, and see what is really about to go down. I am truly excited about it. Truly excited about it. So, you know, I'm thinking to myself that I want to see a big time brawl fight in this day. I'm ready to see these drivers put it all out there and see who's going to end up on the best side of the podium. That's what I'm ready to see. And I think it's going to be truly exciting. 083 says, when you awarded mediocre drivers and you say to champions, winning drivers, you're not good enough, F1 is in trouble. Right. 083, right. Those are facts, brother. Those are facts that you just spit. So we'll see what's going on. We will be in the Discord this weekend for our Wolves Den. I am so excited to hear you all, your ideas, your takeaways from testing, how you feel, your forecasting about the first race, even where you think these teams are going to be. I know you all are going to have a lot to say, so I'm very interested in that. And I'd even like to know what you have to say about this Felipe Drugovich and Aston Martin situation. And, yeah, I just know y'all are going to have a lot to say, so I'm really into it. And, yo, big shout out to Dino. Says first time posting. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to all the new members. Big shout out to all the new subscribers. Big shout out to everybody just joining the channel as we are about to embark on the 2025 Formula One season. You with one of the best channels. We're going to get crazy. We're going to talk our crap. We're going to have our meets. Don't forget, we also do have F1 Minute where you as a viewer and subscriber and Wolfpack family member can come on and be part of the live content creation in real time and partake in some of that. We have live call-ins that we're going to do. So it is going to be an absolutely good time here. Just remember to keep it respectful and don't get stupid, because I will hang up on you. But, I mean, who won't hang up on you if you're being belligerently ignorant? It's just going to happen. So, anyway, big shout out to you all. Testing's over. We're going in round 1. I am about to go back, lay it down. And once again, I do apologize for the live stream running late. It was not my intent, but I do have little control over that right now as I am in the process of recovering. So big shout out to you all. And thank you all for the warm wishes and the welcomes. And y'all be healthy. Stay safe. Peace.